Hi guys, welcome to the video we're doing here for the kayaks and the boats. So if you've volunteered, I say volunteer, but it's a paid position, and we've hired some boats, some pontoons. We have someone in a speedboat coming out and a whole bunch of kayaks. So we're just going to go over the specifics of that. If you're listening to this, you should be one of those people. We wanted to take some time. Our medical director, Brian King, is on the top left-hand corner. And for this one, assistant race director and founder of Odyssey Swim Run, Lars Finanger, is on the bottom. Lars and I go back and forth directing certain events around the country. He takes care of Casco Bay, Orcas. We kind of both do Austin, a little more him for sure. And then I'm more in charge of the Michigan events since I live here. So great to have you guys. Thank you for listening in on this, and thank you for helping us with the event. We really appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you guys. So let's just dive right in. I've taken the liberty. Most of you have signed up on Run Sign Up. If you have not signed up, we need you to do that. There's some waivers there for our insurance. We can keep you organized, and we get your shirt size and all that information. But for a majority of you, I think almost all of you, I have that info anyway, but we do need you to do that. So I've organized that info for the kayakers and the boaters. The first thing I want to do is share the operational map that I came up with. And I will be sending this to each of you as well. All right. You guys can see that, right? Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, yep. So this is a map of the course. It's different than what the participants see because I've put the times in. Now, the times you see here are when the first athletes would come through at the very fastest. They probably won't hit those times, but you're safe if you're at those. Try to get there even maybe a little bit earlier. And then the back end of that range is when the last athlete would come through. And again, the same way as on the front end, on the back, we're thinking most athletes will probably be past you by that time, but that's when to expect them at the very latest. The only cutoff points we have are over by Arch Rock here. You guys likely won't have anything to do with that, but just for general knowledge, Arch Rock is a cutoff and the finish line has a cutoff. So right now what we have 3 pontoon boats that we've rented out of Walhoon, and they're going to be coming up to St. Ignace. Scott Graydon is helping us with that. He's got 3 captains of those pontoons. They're going to come to the boat dock in St. Ignace. And when I email all of you, there'll be an address on there. The kayaks, those of you, and this is most, that are coming from the mainland and not on the island to begin with. I think we only have 2 that are actually on the island. You guys, whether you have a kayak or not, if you don't, remember, we're going to provide that for you. You guys are going to come up to that St. Ignace address, that ramp, and you're going to meet Scott and his crew, and you're going to board those pontoons. When I email you, not only will I give you the address, but I'll give you the pontoon assignment, who the captain is for that, and the contact information for it. All the pontoons and all the captains of those boats will be there. So you guys will all have the paperwork and be able to discuss. So you're going to get on the correct pontoon. They're going to have the kayaks loaded. If you're bringing your own kayak, you'll know which pontoon you go on, and they'll expect to be loading your gear onto that as well. So all of you, with the majority of those 2 people, will be getting on the kayaks or the pontoons. And I haven't exactly worked out the time with Scott yet and his crew. I'm thinking that they're probably going to pick up from Mike, the guy renting us kayaks. He's also in St. Ignace. They're going to pick up those kayaks probably between 5:30, and that's right by the boat launch. I would expect them to load up and launch before 6, but I'll get you guys some exact times there. If you're to the boat launch or the boat ramp at 5:30, you're probably safe. I would imagine he's going to go off, like I said, just before 6. So the ferry from St. Ignace, they go, I don't know how fast they go compared to the pontoons. I'm thinking the pontoon is going to go slower. So I would expect maybe a 35 minute ride over. The pontoons have exact locations where they're going to be going. So pontoon 1, if you look at the map, would be boat 1. So that pontoon loaded with these 4 kayaks would come all the way around the island, and it would stop in this position between these 2 swims. At that point, it would unload the kayaks. They're sit-on-top kayaks, at least most of them are. The reason for that is because they're a little easier to get in and out of when you're coming off a bigger boat right directly into the water, not on shore. But the bigger thing is They're easier to maybe pull people up onto if you absolutely have to. We want to avoid that, but worst case, or at least for our athletes to grab a little more if they need to rest. So those will be sit on top kayaks. Those 4 would be unloaded there, and you'll have the information. I've assigned kayak 1, kayak 2, kayak 3, kayak 4. You guys, when I email you, the kayak volunteers or paddlers, you'll know which number you are and where to go, which boat you're on. So this will all make more sense. You're going to go to your area. You have a certain time here marked in red when we expect the first and last swimmer, as I explained. You'll monitor that area. Now, if 7:35, for instance, was to hit for swim 1 and there were still swimmers in the water, we would expect you to stay in the water. It shouldn't be long after that, but we don't want to leave swimmers in the water, even if your shift is expired. It shouldn't be much longer. When you're in the water, you're going to have your kayak. We're going to give you a shirt on the boat, an event shirt. You can wear that if you want. You don't have to, but we will also give you a bright yellow neon construction style vest that we want you to wear. Of course, you'll have your PFD and your paddle. You are going to be able to tell where the start of the swim is by this. See the yellow triangle here? That represents the start of each of our swims as this yellow cone. We'd like to do something bigger. We just can't because of the island and the regulations with the horses. So the beginning of each swim has this yellow cone. The swimmers are going to then go out anywhere from 50 to 100 feet so that it's deep enough for them to swim, and they'll turn and they'll start swimming parallel with shore. All the swims are in a counterclockwise motion around the island. They'll swim out. When they see that yellow cone, they'll go out 50 to 100 feet. They'll see this buoy, and that will signify where they can start, where it's deep enough. From there, they swim parallel. They keep that depth and that distance from the shore. If the waves wash them in, they're supposed to kind of just come back out on their own. They shouldn't be standing up and walking the shoreline or anything like that. The duty of the kayaks is to stay just a little bit further out. I would say, Lars, what do you think? Maybe another 10, 15 meters out from?
Yeah, 10, 15 meters out. Just something where the swimmers feel like they've got a little bit of a safety buffer. And then if you do notice that a swimmer's in distress, that you can get in there quickly.
And what I would say, guys, the kayak, those of you that are listening that are kayakers, those swimmers are probably going to try to get kind of close to you. They might see you as the swim line. So please look at that orange buoy when you position yourself, and try to stay about what that is from shore. If you end up drifting way out, you may end up inadvertently having the swimmers track you out there. So stay kind of close, but not right on the path. If they get tired, they're allowed to hang on to your kayak. Try to make sure, we're going to tell them, or we already told them in the past, but make sure they're hanging on to the front of your kayak so you can see them at all times. Don't leave someone if you can help that. If you have to drag them into shore where they can touch, remember, they're going to be just tens of feet from being able to touch. So if you need to go help someone else, just paddle them in a little bit so they can touch and then go to the next person if that's the case. In triathlons, if any of you are familiar, there's no forward motion or you're disqualified. We don't want that here, but it's not going to be an instant DQ. We don't expect any athlete to be riding a kayak through an entire swim or anything like that. The pontoon boat.
I might also add that we really don't expect many swimmers to need assistance unless something like a cramp happens, which does tend to happen in swim runs. But really, these swimmers are proficient. They may be slow, but they're proficient. They shouldn't need much help.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like I said, they're close enough to shore where if they took probably 5 to 10 strokes, they would be able to touch. So we're not thinking that there's going to be that much need. You guys are just there as the fail safe. The red icon you see here is obviously the pontoon, the boat. That those of you, whoever's listening, that is the captain of that boat, you're going to kind of position yourself between the swim on this one, the 2 swims, and maybe a little further out than the kayaks. We don't expect anyone to get on your boat. You hopefully will be doing a whole lot of nothing. You're just monitoring to make sure none of the swimmers swim out to sea. The further along we get, the more they could be out of it and think they're close to shore when they're not. So you're really just monitoring for other boats that may come in. I've never seen boats come into shore at Mackinac. So just, you're just monitoring the course. You're helping with anything that needs to be helped. You can sit here, or you can just kind of go between these two swims, keeping an eye out for stuff. Okay. So it's kind of the same format all the way around. You'll see the water drop here. This represents a water stop. That water stop is the exit. The exits will be marked with orange cones instead of yellow, orange. And we'll have a combination of not only that orange cone, but a yellow vest on the volunteer that is at that water stop. Those water stops, in case for any reason you guys need to get something to drink or some calories, or you need to help someone get into that, those will have water and water with electrolytes in it and gels. And the bigger two swims will have some peanut butter sandwiches and bananas at them as well, just for your information. So when your shift's all done, and we'll go around at the rest, showing the rest of these real quick, but when your shift's done, for a majority, almost all of these, the kayaks are going to then be loaded back into the boat, and the boat will take you guys back to St. Ignace. If you'd rather be dropped on the island, that's a possibility too. Just let the boat captain know. If you're dropped on the island and you don't have a ticket already, you will have to get a ticket to go back to the mainland. It's not that we don't want to provide that, but we're picking you guys all up from St. Ignace. So providing a ride back on the pontoon is what we're able to do. So just keep that in mind if you do stay on the island. The one position which I have Mike, the person renting us the kayaks, down for, the pontoon one here and kayak one. Kayak one, when it's done at 7:35, will go all the way over to become kayak 14 on the last swim course. When this pontoon boat is done here, which will be slightly after the first short course athletes get on the last swim, this pontoon will make its way over to this swim as well. So this boat and this kayak are the only two that really overlap that we're going to use twice. It's the only ones that work out that way. Okay, so going up to the third swim course. This is I believe it's our longest. Yes, it is. So this is our longest. This should have 4 kayaks. Any of these swims can make do with about one less kayak. Where you see 2, it could be 1. Where you see 4, it could be 3. We've just kind of padded those in the last couple of days. But so kayaks 5, 6, 7, 8 will be on pontoon boat 2. They'll be dropped into the water for swim 3 and monitor in the exact same way. I forgot to mention that we will have onshore medics. That's what this red cross right here is, monitoring this area, monitoring this swim. And if you go all the way around, we have our 6th medic stationed between swim 4 and swim 5, monitoring from the land here. If there's any case that needs to be brought in, maybe it's a laceration, something that's not really serious, you guys can bring them into shore to see this medic. I will share that information with everyone as well. If it's something serious, you guys are going to need to call 911. Whatever makes more sense, to get them on the pontoon and get them around into the harbor, or to get them to land. And I'll turn that over real quick to Brian to talk to you guys a little more about what that protocol might look like.
Okay. Anything that is non-life threatening, lacerations, mild dehydration, cramps, bring in the shore, let that medic take care of that situation. If it's anything life threatening, 911 should automatically be called. 911 is called. The medic will call me, and I will make my way to that area there. So the 911 will be initiated, and the medic at that point will also determine, all right, we need to get them to the harbor, or we need more resources. And those medics will know about the more resources, i.e. me, island medics, and so forth.
So, Brian, am I correct to assume that if something happens in the water and it's close to the pontoon and that person ends up being put on the pontoon, that captain and or the kayakers in the area should call whatever medic is in that area, and they'll have that information from me, but they should call that. Or if that person gets brought to shore, they should do the same thing. It just wouldn't necessarily involve the pontoon boat unless that's needed to come in order to get them to shore quicker.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And guys, keep in mind, while there's no, obviously you guys that are signing up for this, you know that there's no vehicles on the island. There is obviously EMS, you know that. There's the fire department, the police department, ambulance. So they can use that perimeter road to get out there really quick. So anything else you wanted to add to that, Brian, before I continue on here?
No.
Okay. So, and those medics will be fully equipped with at least basic supplies. We just ordered some of those today, and we'll go from there. So this swim up here, we just went over that. Coming around to swim 4, that's a short one. I believe it's 400 meters. Yes, 400 meters. That starts right at the British Landing State Dock, and there's been construction there. We will either start right at the base of that dock if we can. It's really nice. It's a good way in, but we can start further down if we have to. So this may be adjusted slightly, but it should be in this area. They get out right at British Landing here, so that's convenient as far as some amenities and concessions and things like that. And then the second to last swim is the second longest. That one's 1275. Again, there's 4 kayaks on that. And the ones with more than one kayak, they're all of them but 2 have more than one kayak. Spread yourself out evenly, guys. Lars, can you comment on in the past what you've seen? I know as far as triathlon is concerned, usually people need help at the start or surprisingly, or at the end. How is that translated for swim run?
Yeah, so for some of the other races that we have, it's more for a visual for for boats to see where a swimmer is, out in possibly a big bay or the ocean or a big lake. So it's more for visibility than anything. And so we spread them out anywhere between 400 or 500 yards from one another. This, Aaron, when you were out there last week and you said the visibility was excellent in terms of the swimmer being able to see those fluorescent cones at the start and finish, and also where a volunteer with the vest would be seen. So it's not going to be as much visibility as it's going to be just spacing yourselves evenly, so that I would say between 300-400 yards, so that just the swimmer feels safe more than anything, that they're not looking, at a big open Great Lake with no safety boats in sight.
So to be clear, and I think I made this clear, but just in case, these orange circles represent that buoy that I held up. That's the only buoy. These courses are not marked, and usually we don't even have buoys because usually it's island to island. So they're swimming from where they start to a flag they see in the distance. So the orange buoy here is just to get them started. They are just keeping distance from shore. They have nothing else to sight off besides the depth and the distance from the shore that they see when they take their breath. So like Lars said, those kayaks will kind of help them guide along the way. Now, they look close on this map. You're not going to be nearly as close. And you don't have to stay stationary. You can work together. You guys are going to be on the pontoon, going out there together, talk about what you want to do, who wants to be positioned where. I mean, I have kayak 10, for instance, right here at the top of swim 5. I don't really care if 10, 11, 12, 13 stay in this order, how they were assigned. As long as these 4 that I did assign here are out there, you guys work out who wants to patrol what, evenly space out and just patrol it. Now, the thing I will say is that on the straightaways, it's very easy to see. However, there are, as you can see, little coves and little points. And if that occurs during the swim, like on this one, if you're over here by kayak 12, where kayak 12 is, they're not going to see you in the beginning. So if you're on these corners that stick out, maybe come out a little further so that they can at least see you. And then as they're swimming towards you, come in to kind of keep them towards shore. Make sure they can see you to your best ability. And if there's someone else over there covering it, then you're okay. All right. So I think that's really it, guys. You guys get the shirt. It's $100 for the kayaks. We've already paid for the boats. And just make sure that you get a meal before you leave. We're going to do our absolute, you'll have the shirt when you get on the boat. You're going to not only have your kayak if you're not bringing your own and all that stuff, but I'm going to get them a shirt. The pontoon guys, I'm going to get them shirts for all you guys. And I'm going to get them the bright colored vests for you to wear. These aren't just at our swim exit. Remember, I'm giving you these for the boats as well for you guys and the kayaks. So they'll have those. I'm going to do all I can to get you guys lunches while you're out there. Worst case, the pontoon boats can load all you guys up, come in and dock for a few minutes, and we can run some lunches down to you. Our finish line is over at Fort Mackinac. It's right to the side of it. So it's not too long of a jog to go up there or for us to come down. So we'll do everything we can to get those for you guys. I believe that is it. I will email you guys all the contact info, the positions that you're going to be, the times, all of that. I've discussed it at length with you individually, but there's more information to come. Up here, you'll see our first projected short course finisher could be as early as 8:45. And our long course could be as early as 9:45, with our last finishers being around 2:20, 2:30. So hopefully that's about it. Brian, Lars, did you guys want to add anything?
The only thing, there will be a person following the last runner. Once that person gets down to shoreline, he's going to signal to y'all that is the last runner going into the water. If y'all, he's going to go over to the swim out. If y'all can just signal to him, that's the last swimmer out of the water, so he can continue on to his way.
And that's, I believe it's a college kid we got that lives on the island, right? To ride his bike and be the follower of the last person, Brian?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, he'll just follow that last person all day, guys, and just skip from the swim entry, let you guys know, go to the exit, and then just bring that last person into him so he knows that's the last swimmer and he can continue on his way and you know you're good. My information, Lars, Brian, and one of our other directors, John, that'll all be on the information sheet that we give you guys. It's also on this. I will be printing out, this will be a front and back print, this map. It has projected times on there as well, and our information at the bottom. That will be on waterproof paper to help you guys out. So just keep that on you. And I guess that's it. Lars, anything else to add?
No, the only thing is just this is really exciting. It's the first time that we've obviously put Mackinac Island. It's the first time that Swim Run has been on Mackinac Island. The previous Belation Islands, and just the racers are extremely excited. We run a Facebook open group, and the banter's been going strong for 6 months. So athletes, this is going to be the highlight of their summer. It's going to be the highlight of their year. So we hope that you guys just enjoy the entire day, and thank you so much.
Yeah, guys, thank you. We know you have a lot of stuff on your plate, and for you guys to come out, it means a lot. So thank you. All right, I'll leave it there. More information to come. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.